Welcome to my space and thoughts on all things encouragement. I'm glad to be here and alive and healthy. Last year was a roller coaster for many of us, and today I'm here with Sali, my BFF since I was 6 years old.
Imagine 6, wow.
6 years old, and I don't know whether to be smiling or not. We are here for encouragement purposes, and Sally last year went through, like many of us did, experiences with COVID that really changed our lives. And I had asked her if she'd like to come and share her experience. I don't want to say the experience, lest I preempt, but karibu sana.
Hi.
Welcome to my space. She has her own channel. So
Yes, I am on the YouTubes.
I shall put the link below. You
Yes.
can go follow her.
Yeah.
So, karibu sana. I want
Thank
to
you.
welcome you to my space and thank you for coming to share. Thank you for being brave enough to come and share your story. I know somebody out there will be able to be encouraged through it. So, maybe I can begin. How was 2021 for you up to the first quarter of the year?
Pretty plain and simple. It was just like any other year, really. We start out with a resolution, and then because 5th January and you've just already messed up, and you give up on your resolution. But it was a normal year. Same routine, trying to get work, taking the kids to school, getting back to the routine of who's at home at what time, picking up, cooking, all these things, because we're females and all of a sudden we have to be in the kitchen. Don't understand that mathematics, but that's another video.
That really is another video.
Yeah, it was just pretty same old. First quarter, same old. This is after lockdown, because 2020 was really rough and lockdown had happened. So things are getting back into, like weird but not weird, but
Kind of working.
Yeah, so that was the first quarter. Until April, the numbers were still up, they were still high, and precautions were still there. But, you're still meeting people, and you have to work, and you have to make a living, and you have to do things that you're supposed to do, and you have to be outside. And my dad was a surveyor by profession, so he's always around.
Surveyor, I'm architect. Have I not known your dad?
He was an architect.
Okay, at least.
He started that and then got into surveying
Okay.
later on in his later years. So that was his business, surveying. So he's always out surveying lands everywhere, and he's meeting everybody. And along the way, that is not proper English.
You're doing direct translation. Gianni.
In the course of meeting new people, he contracted the disease, and we didn't know about it until I don't want to say it was too late, because it wasn't, but it was in its later stage. It was in the
Was he
red zone.
asymptomatic or?
We don't know. We're not sure. The rest of us were, because, nothing was happening to us. We're not even. I think he was as well, because he didn't have any symptoms. It was until maybe the very last. Again, I don't want to say the very last, but rarely in our family do we get sick. And if it's sickness, it's a homa, which my mother will
Ginger garlic to there.
drown you in concussions. Yeah, and you will just be sick for a day or two, and then you'll be fine. And that's just a cold or a flu. And that's just about it. No one ever got it admitted for they're sick. Nothing. But we do have underlying issues in the family which we've managed to maintain, like BP, we have that, and diabetes, we have that. So I think those things are the ones that caused my dad to fall sick. And we all thought it was just, again, flu. Until one time, I was home. It was just, I mostly work from the house. So it was just me and him in the house. And he comes up, he calls me on the phone. My dad is an African parent. Because he will scream your name from wherever he is. Yeah. But he called me on the phone. I'm like, why is this dude calling me? And he's downstairs. And he's like, come down. And I go down, I find he's weak. You can clearly see he's weak. And he's struggling to speak. So he says, I need to take him to the hospital. And he's trying to be calm, but there's some urgency. I can see there's some urgency about it. He's trying to be calm about it. So I was like, okay, great. Shoes on. Get the car keys. We go.
At this point, you don't have any idea what's happening. You
I
just
know.
see he's feeling a bit weak.
I know, because you see, by then, the symptoms were weak. Difficulty breathing.
Yeah.
And chills. And you can visibly see that. So in my mind, I knew it could be it, but then I kept telling myself, nah, it can't. Nah, it's not. Maybe it's just, something, but nah, So again, also me, I'm trying to not panic, but we are panicking. And yeah, we got to the hospital. And I didn't know this about Nairobi Hospital. Nairobi Hospital is actually, if you want to get emergency services, tell the watchman it's an emergency. And they read you in to the main. So by the time I was, because in Nairobi Hospital, there's a small car traffic at the gate where they have to check you and they have to check the car and all those things. I just said emergency. And they just let me pass. Very quickly, I didn't even have time to get the parking ticket. So, got in, went to emergency, parked right at the door. And there's a nurse waiting, and she just asked me, okay, is there any symptoms you've noticed? I'm like, he's not breathing properly. He can't speak. He's walking, but very slowly, and he's struggling. So they put him in a wheelchair, then whisked him off to the ER to get checked and all. So I called my mom. My mom was out of town at the time. I called my sister, and my sister was at work, so she cut her job short. She came over with her husband. My brother was also out of town, so it's just me and my sister who are dealing with things right now. And yeah, so we wait a while. We're waiting. We are informing our small neat family what's happening. And I had to pick my daughter from school. I had to send her home, and then come back to the hospital and just chill and just wait and see what's happening. So finally, after all the tests, my dad was put on oxygen. And they said, yeah, he has COVID. So all you all have to get tested. And hopefully, it's not bad. And right now, they're doing a test on his lungs to see how bad it is internally. But by the looks of it, you just need to put him on oxygen right now, watch him a few days, and then we see what happens. So, yeah. Everything was good until now. By this time,
admission was Monday.
No,
Sunday.
It was Friday. Friday. So by this time, the hospitals are full. Like
finding beds was
an issue.
I remember. Yeah.
So the doctors were saying home care, and my mom wanted home care because my mom is a PhD nutritionist. Of course, home care makes sense, But then again, home care means the doctor has to come to the house, which ideally it's more expensive actually than the hospital. So we're looking at all those things. We're trying to figure out what's happening. A lot of families abroad, they're calling in, trying to figure out what's happening. My dad is trying to answer his phone calls, but he can't answer his phone calls because he's on the mask, on the oxygen. And so we're like, you know what, let's just chill. Let's just monitor a few days, then see what happens. We finally got a bed. He had to be isolated because it was, positive. So he went into the isolation
Center.
which is just across the road from Nairobi Hospital. And now we couldn't see him. At least they didn't allow us to see him. So communication was via text. And I love that the doctor that was assigned to him she was amazing. She kept
telling you guys the
telling
progress,
us what's happening and what the progress was, what we need to do. And my dad is a spiritual guy, right? He is staunch. He's like the OG Adventists. And a lot of his friends are pastors. And a lot of his friends are elders in the church. And they helped out a lot because there was always someone at the hospital.
Oh, at hospital?
Not even in the house, at the hospital. There's always someone at the hospital.
But weren't guys not allowed in the...
No, they're not in, but they were outside. There's a space where people can just come and chill, right? There was always someone there. Throughout the day. Like there's someone contacting my mom, there's someone with my sister.
So the support system
there was a support system, like a really, really big one, right? And that helped out a lot because there's a lot of prayers that are going on. And word went around, hey, you guys pray for Rico, this is happening, do this. And I think it's, those are the things that you look back and you're like, this is a blessing in disguise, because a lot of those elders are actually doctors.
Yes.
Actually doctors who could go in and actually go and talk to my dad and actually see, okay,
so he had guys at least seeing him that he knew.
Yes.
Okay.
That could go in. There are very few who could go in because it's isolation. So there are restrictions even for. It doesn't matter how many stars you have on your jacket. You can't go in. Right? But there were few who could be able to actually see him and talk to him and monitor and see, okay, this is what's happening and give us a report, which went hand in hand with the doctor that he was assigned to. So everything was good. He was breathing well. Oxygen although his lungs were badly damaged though, so they had to put him in the helmet. There's the
mask.
I forget the names. So yes, there's a regular mask and then there's a helmet where you can't even talk on the phone. It's literally a helmet that gets up to here. And it's oxygen around, so it helps you breathe. And he had to be there for quite some time because when he went into isolation, his oxygen went down. So they had to put him on the helmet, which they didn't want to in the first place because of his age. But it had to happen, So a lot of the times there was no communication from him because he couldn't text. And oxygen makes you dizzy and makes you sleepy. People don't know that. Yeah. If you have too much of it, you just tend to be drowsy. It's not bad for you, but you tend to be drowsy. So you'll be out a lot of the time. So he was out a lot of the time. And plus there's medications that he's taking and, But everything seems to be going well because he tried taking off the helmet to see if he can breathe on his own, and he did. And for like maybe 2 days, he was breathing on his own. And which was good because he texted me like, I'm fine. So you guys just keep praying. I'll be out here soon. And we're now in like the second week. The end of first week, beginning of the second week, right? He's in the hospital. And then suddenly oxygen is down. They had to put him back on the helmet. And then they had to, I don't know what happened exactly, they had to incubate him. So incubation is like put
Intubate.
Intubate? I don't know what the word is. Please comment down below and correct me. Thanks. Intubate? I don't know what the word is. But they put a tube down your throat to your lungs to help you breathe, right? And that's usually deemed as a last resort, because the oxygen mask is not working, the helmet is not working.
That's
So
to get the oxygen direct into your lungs.
directly to your lungs.
Okay.
And that's what's helping you breathe. But in the process of that, he went into cardiac arrest, and that's how he left us. And now this is what the doctor now told us what's happening. All this while we're at home, figuring out what the next step is. Mom's routine has become go to work, go to hospital, come home, change, go to hospital. You know, like she camped there. What was missing was a tent and a sleeping bag, but she camped there. So she got a phone call saying, you need to come to the hospital. Hospitals, why do they do this? Why do you call me to tell me in person that I've lost a loved one, but you can't tell me in person what's happening?
Kind of weird.
Suspicious. Very. And those are the things that were just running through our minds, because we're thinking, why would they call us now? What has happened? My mom had this
Had a
gut
feeling?
yes. She had this feeling like it can't be good.
Really?
It can't be good. Why would they call me? It can't be good. They haven't called me all this time. Now is when they're calling me. It can't be good. And yeah, it was bad. He passed. And that's the after I dropped him off at the hospital. The next time I saw him was when he died.
Sorry, man.
That's the like physical like this. And you know, emotions. I'm not an emotional person. I'm not. It frustrates a lot.
No emotion whatsoever.
I don't know how to.
Yeah.
I am the kind of person who keeps everything in, and then at some point it bursts out. And if it bursts out in the weirdest ways, because I do weird things. And then and there, it was my sister and I, my sister's husband and my mom, and a neighbor who
Your
also...
brother there? Had he come?
No,
Not
he
yet.
was still out of town. And now lockdown had happened.
There were restrictions as
Yes, lockdown had happened for... You can't come in and out of Nai.
well. Yeah.
So he couldn't come in. There's a neighbor of ours who's a cousin to us, so she was there. She helped us a lot, because now in our family all of us were negative except our house girl. She's the only one who was positive, and which made sense because she and my dad were together in the house a lot. So it made sense. So she was in isolation. Everyone else is negative. So we can't really go places because we have to still also isolate a bit after our results. This was when it was 15 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my cousin helped us a lot with getting new groceries, getting stuff to the house and things like that. So she happened to come to the house with some groceries, and she's like, why are you guys going to the hospital? Hey, I'm coming. You can't drive? Sali, you can't drive? My mother was in no position to drive. I knew I was driving. And she was like, you can't drive. I know you are like trying to put up a face here, but no. Let me just drive you guys. Like, okay. She drove us to the hospital, stayed with us the whole time. And yeah, it's sad. I don't know what emotion to put there, what word to put there. It's indescribable to watch your parent break down. If you see your friend, like if you break down, I'd know what to do. Because you're my friend. Like, there's a level we are at.
Relationship is
yeah,
different with what you have with your parent.
with your parent.
Yeah.
But even though you have like your parent is your BFF, there's the thing about watching your parent, because you see your parent as this superhero,
Strong person.
yeah, like nothing can. My mom is a G. She's a G, like nothing phases her.
Yeah.
But to watch her break down, it was hard. It was so hard. And you can't tell anything. She's lost her best friend. There's nothing you can tell her. She was inconsolable.
So it was a doctor who just came and now
the doctor just gathered us together and just...
This lady now.
Yes, and just told us step by step what happened, which I appreciate. Because some doctors, they just tell you, we are sorry.
And that's it.
And that's it. So I appreciate that she broke it.
So you were all there at that point?
Yeah.
Your sister, the husband, your cousin, yourself, your mom?
Yeah. Broke it down step by step, what happened, why it happened, the way it happened. Everything. She told us everything. She was very open about it. And I appreciate her for that. And yeah, so now it became task of, I'm the one who called my brother. Because I texted him.
The same moment?
No. I texted him when my mom got the phone call, we need to go to hospital. I texted him. Mom has been told to go to hospital. I don't know what's wrong, but pray for the best. We are just going to hospital. You get? So a few moments later, you know, I'm a mom. I think I went into mommy mode. When I saw my mom like that, I just immediately went into mommy mode. I was like, okay, what's next? We need to fix this. What are we doing? How are we getting the body? How much has got? We need to check out what like I went into.
So you didn't even moan at that point?
No.
You just switched to...
I just switched to mommy mode. Yes, I need to sort things out here. I switched to firstborn mode because my brother was not there. So, like, switched, you know, immediately. So I called my brother, like, okay, yeah, he's gone. Where are you? Out of town. All right. You can't come in, so go to Shags. Okay, great. Call you guys when I get there. So my brother went to Shags. He broke the news to my uncle, who's my dad's only brother, blood brother. We have many, we have many steps. Yeah, but so my brother is handling things out of town, and me and my sister handling things on the side. At that moment, you know, you just know here. Just take the reins. Your parent is incapable right now, and you just need to let her be. And just... Actually,
you had no option but to switch. Honestly, thinking about it, you really...
I had to switch. My mom was not capable of doing anything. She wasn't in a position to make any decision. Whatsoever. She would not have made any decision. So I'm glad my cousin was there. And I'm glad an auntie of mine... I think my sister is the one who called her when I texted my sister. Called her and she came. Like, we got the news like this. She was walking in, and she just when my mom went down, she just came
and held her.
And held my mom. So I'm grateful for family that was there actually, because I don't know what I've done, to be honest. I was in shock. That's the word. Well, shock.
It was shock mainly because we are having the whole...
Yeah.
We were discussing the whole time.
Yeah.
And the last thing you told us is that the doctor said Dad is even now walking.
He's the previous day.
So the prayers are just like, thank you, God.
It's working. Because the previous day, he actually walked from his bed without the helmet, without the mask. He walked from his bed to the door, because that's as much as he can go. He walked from bed to the door very well without his stick. And he came back. And he sat. And he was fine. And he was talking to the nurse. The nurse who also happens to come from near our Shags. And they were having a conversation, and you know, everything seemed to be just going well. Then the next thing you know, he's gone.
It's a whole other story.
He is gone. So
that thing hit. You know, I never told you. I said maybe this is now when I should tell you. When you told me that, immediately, Sally, immediately, because I'm an empath and I soak in a lot of what happens, I need to fix it. I'm working on it. Immediately you said that. I don't know if this is TMI. My period began immediately. Immediate. Yeah. I was in such shock. I cried.
Your body was just...
Yeah. And then I think maybe that's why, even through the journey, I was unsure of what to do. I don't know if I was present.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I noticed.
I was trying, but I was confused.
Yeah. You didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I was so confused because I was
and your brother knows how to do everything.
Yeah.
Like she knows everything. Like, okay, this is what you're doing.
I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I've been feeling like I should have been there for you more, but it's either I was scared, I was unsure what to do, or my emotions were confused. I didn't know about that thing. I just said, I'll tell you much later on. It hit me so hard. I told the crew, I told them, and they just said, just wait. You wait until later. It was because her dad was like my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Well, like
and
sisters.
her dad is the only one who used to call me some. Don't
Nyambush.
say it. I'm editing that part out. Her dad was the only one who had a...
Only
In
the
the
only
whole
person
world.
she allowed to call her that.
Don't ever call
Only person.
Yeah. So
Only.
somebody I've known since you're a child, and it happened. I was even unsure of doing this video because I was like, will I be able to speak? Will I not?
Yeah.
But I thank God that our friendship still, even through the test of time, we were able to. We went and buried your dad, and it was a difficult day that day.
It was hard.
Very difficult.
That was the first time I broke down.
That was your first day to break down? Or because you could...
No, that wasn't the first day. That was the second time. The first time was when you guys came home.
Saturday?
Was it a
when you
Saturday?
went to your bedroom?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what day that was.
It was Saturday. It was the following day. We came, myself, Ted, and Olela. It was the following day. Because it was Friday, I remember.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the that was the first breakdown.
Time.
Like when I actually, even I stood myself, I was like, what is this? Why am I crying? What is happening? You know? That's the first time I don't think the reality of the situation had hit me then. I think I was just like, oh, he's gone. And my body was like trying to give me a message. Dude, like, he's gone. It hadn't hit me. It hit me when I saw the casket going down.
I remember.
That's when it hit me. Like, yeah, he's actually gone. That's when it hit me. Yeah, that was a tough day.
It was tough, but how it's been going to be a year actually in a few months. How has the journey been since? Have you been able to go through the motions? And because I know there might be somebody else who has lost a close. Many of us have lost loved ones, but not as
that
close. Yeah. So how has the journey been, and what would you encourage somebody who maybe have experienced it yesterday, the day before, last week, last month?
It's okay to feel what you're feeling. Whatever it is, just feel it. Don't hold yourself. I don't know what to. Don't restrain. Yes, don't restrain yourself. Feel what you're feeling. You feel angry, be angry. You feel happy, be happy. You feel sad, be sad. You want to cry, cry. Do all those things. I would not recommend mihadarati. No.
Sure, don't do drugs.
Yes, kids, don't do drugs. Don't, because I thank God for my friends, because they wouldn't allow me. If you have been following Nyambura on the Instagrams, I did do my testimony over there.
You can go check it out.
You can go check.
Yeah.
And I also did a testimony on my YouTube channel, so go check that out, about the life I had. I was Christian, but you guys, life.
The world was good.
The world was good, man. It was. And I indulged a lot. And that was my go-to. That's my, what do you call it?
That's where you lash. That's
how I lash out.
Yeah.
That's how
You not let out your emotions.
That's
but
how I burst.
Yeah.
Yes. I indulge. So, and indulging is, I know where to get it. Even those blockages, nothing like that. I know where to find. I know how to access it. I know how it will get to me. And I thank God for my friends. They never allowed me. They kept a close eye to ensure this girl, if she decides to get her hands on this stuff, I'd be wow, I'd be gone. Now I would be gone. So a lot of the time, that's how I felt. You know, though you have a craving.
Because you know the feeling it will give you,
yes,
the high, or make you forget.
Yes.
Numb.
Numb, that's the word. Numbness, that's what I wanted. And I don't know where I read it or saw it or watched it, because I was a lot on social media. I was trying to forget, right, and trying to get myself back into the groove of things. And that being in your emotion, dwelling, sitting in that emotion, is what I started practicing. You know, when I wanted to cry,
just be where
yes,
if you're angry, if you're
sitting in that emotion that you're sitting in. Because a lot of times I was angry at myself for not seeing the symptoms fast enough to take him to hospital fast enough so that he can
but he couldn't have.
And even angry at my dad for not saying, because my dad, when he gets sick, he won't say.
African men,
please, as in just like because I learned even from my mom the days leading to, he wasn't feeling all that good. He wasn't. And my dad, on a daily, concoction a must, you know, with his meal, breakfast, lunch, it's a must. So he like, you almost smell like garlic and ginger, you know, it was a must. So I was not understanding, but this guy is healthy. How did he go like that? He was exercising, he was eating right, he was like, he was not supposed to go. I was mad at my dad for going. I was mad at God for taking him. I was mad at myself for not being quick. I was mad at everybody.
So you were learning to let yourself have
just
all those
sit
feelings
in the anger.
Yeah.
Just sit, because now I knew if I don't address it in some way, I'll take it out on my daughter. And why? For what? She didn't do anything.
Yeah. And she's also hurting.
And she's, because she and my dad were like BFFs, you know. Yeah. So and the emptiness in the house also didn't help. Because as much as my dad is introverted, you know, but you'd feel his presence. Even in his silence, you'd feel his presence. You know? Yeah. And it wasn't there. It was, it's like the presence left with him. And I remember one time, I think maybe then, because we buried him in April, May, I say a vision, because I'm not sure if I was asleep. Because a lot of times I just sit in my bed, I listen to music, and then I close my eyes, when I open it, it's morning. So I'm not sure if I fell asleep or in between, or I don't know what that was. So I call it a vision. And my dad is not a hugger. He's...
yeah. You see where she gets it from.
My dad. he doesn't express it, but deep down, it's there. You just need to see it, figure it out and see it. So I remember one time in high school, I was in Form 4, and it was like a week to beginning of KCSE, right? And my dad could come to school on Saturdays for school's ministry. So he came, purpose to come that time. You know, last was of encouragement, we're doing exam now, you know, I can't come. So last straw, we're doing this, right? So he came that Sabbath to school. And I was just seeing him, like, I hadn't seen him in a while, so I was happy to see him. And, you know, he's asking, so how's school, you know, what are we doing, what's our strategy, how are we passing these exams, you know, we're talking. And we bonded, it was time for him to leave. So my dad, usually, when we leave, he's like, work hard, okay? You know you're smart? Okay, good. And then he goes. But that one day, he hugged me.
So is this something that happened with
This is high school that he hugged me. And my dad, when he hugs you, he gives you those side hugs. You know those awkward ones that you... I don't know why men do this hug like that. But this he hugged me, like
A
his
full
full
proper-
body, tight hug. And I felt it was like, okay, wow, I've never had this from my dad, you know. And if I had it, I was probably too young to remember. But he hugged me, and I remember that. And those are one of the things that kind of boosted my confidence for KCSE, you know. So he's gone now. I'm in bed. I'm just wondering. I'm in the empty box. I'm just wondering. And he just comes to my mind, and it goes back to that. But now we are not in high school. We are in the house. And it's just me and him again. It looks like the house, but it's not the house. I don't know what, it's in between a dream and reality. I don't know what it is. And he's like, you'll be fine. That's all he says, you'll be fine. And he hugs me. Again, that same tight hug. And I wake up. And I'm by myself in my room, like,
What happened?
you know the way sometimes the dreams that you have that are so vivid, you feel like they're real. And that's how I felt. Yes, and that's I felt.
The hug.
You know the way you hug someone and you let go, you still feel their body on you. I felt that.
Wow.
It's like, okay, I'm going to just sit in it and just remember and feel everything I'm feeling and remember everything. It happened again the next day. You'll be fine. The only thing he said to me is, you'll be fine. That's it. And it's like
That's
the
what
last
kept you
thing,
moving.
and then he goes. That in between, I don't know what to call it. That it's like his spirit was in between, that he needed to say what he needed to say first, and then go in peace, you know? And I haven't felt like that again since. Not that I don't feel his presence, I do. Like, his presence is still in the house, you know? And his pictures are all over. And they're strategically placed that, you know, there's a way you'll turn, you just see him, you know? So, for the few months after that, it was tough. And I learned just to sit in my emotions. And I learned to just deal with things the way I'm dealing with them. And I learned to be frank and open, and just tell you, I don't feel like doing this today. Why? I can't explain why. I just don't feel like doing it. I don't want to. Please don't force me to do it. And a lot of people will think, she's just grieving, you know. But I'm not that person. And my dad wasn't that person. Like, where the people will cry for 5 minutes and then, okay, so now what are we doing next? And I think that was my 5 minutes with my dad. It was now we're moving on. What are we doing next? So things with the house, okay, what do we need to figure out? My dad's business, so what are we doing? Who's taking over what? Expenses, what are we doing? You know, everyday life things that my dad used to handle now has fallen on us. And now it's kind of, I don't know, it's not kind of, it is my job now to take care of my mom, because I'm the only one who my brother is married, my sister is married. So it's me and my mom in the house. So it's technically I'm doing everything, which sometimes is a handful. Because again, watching your mother try to be strong, because she's thinking that
She needs to be strong for you.
for me, yeah. She's thinking, oh, I need to be strong for her. But like, I'm good. I need to be strong for you, because she's lived with him longer. She's known him longer. So there's certain things that she and him had that I will never understand. And the best thing you can do is just be present. And that's what I try to do, just be present. And you know, there's some things that she does, you wonder, okay.
Just
Let me-
leave it.
it's okay, you just do you with it, it's fine. After you're finished, I'll come back.
Yeah.
You know, you just give her some space. Then again, you don't want to give her some space. Then again, you don't know what to do. You know, there's that limbo. But it pushes you to come out of your comfort zone, because I realized we were comfortable, very comfortable. My dad made sure of that, and it's his hard work and persistence and all these things that he strived to do for his life I feel like, I'm sure there's a lot of things that he wanted to have done, and didn't get to do. But so far, you just see the fruits of his labor. Like, some things happen, like I taught me this.
Yeah.
Even something as simple as changing the tires of your car, or going to the garage. Something that's taken, like, females cannot go to the garage.
Yeah.
My dad taught me everything.
Yeah.
This is a spark plug. This is what it looks like. This is where it goes. This is how you change the oil. This is how you do these things. So, as in, when it comes to something as making sure the cars were fine, my mom is thinking, me, I'm such a boy. I tell people I'm such a boy. And they don't believe me. Yeah. So when I take the cars to go get fixed, my mom just looks at me like, when did you learn these things?
So in hindsight, you're seeing that your dad really set you guys up.
Yeah, like, he set us up like for life, really.
Yeah.
Because my mom taught me housemaking things, because that's who she is. This is how you take care of the house. My dad taught me, like, don't rely on a man on these things. Not in the essence of rely on a man.
Just know how
don't
to
be
do
lied to. Because ideally, yeah, my dad's a man's man. Like, he'd take care of everything. If he had his way, my mother would be a housewife. If he had his way,
yeah.
You get. But then again, he was smart enough to know, you know what? Yes, he spoiled us. He did. We're spoiled by my dad, and not spoiled at you because we're brats. No, spoiled in the sense of know these things, because comes a time where you will have to do these things for yourself. So you don't have to rely on someone else, or even me when I'm in Ushago to call me dad. How do you change the thing?
Yeah.
Like, learn these things by yourself, and that's who he was. Do things for yourself. Try and figure it out for yourself. You can't, ask for help. If you can't,
So your dad really set you guys up.
Yeah.
And it's sad that he passed. But to those who have gone through it, it's possible for them to live another day and to face tomorrow.
There's always going to be that empty space, and it's okay for you to want that space to remain empty. It's okay. Live your life. And I'm sure the person that has left would want that for you. Live your life. Living your life doesn't mean that you've forgotten about that person. They're always going to be with you. They're always going to forever be in your heart. And sure, there's things about them you'll forget. Because, you're growing older and you're moving on with life, especially if, like my daughter, she's 13 now. She's going to grow up, and if it were not for the pictures in the house, she'd probably forget what she looks like. Probably forget how he sounds like. Because she's a child. And it's okay. There shall come a time where we shall see him again. And it's okay to allow yourself to forget. It's okay. Because sometimes also holding on to that is painful enough, because you're psychologically hurting yourself, and you don't know you are, because you're unconsciously
living in that moment.
Yeah, and you're living in that moment, which is preventing you from going on, going to the next step of your life and moving on to the next step of your life, which you're supposed to. You move. It's life. It's birth, life, death. Cycle of life. It happens. It happened too soon for Dad, but it happens. And right now it sounds like I'm being a bit insensitive because I have zero emotions, but I'm not. Because there's times where I will find myself just crying, and I'm not a crier, and I think it's something totally different until it comes to me like, oh, okay, I'm crying because Dad is not here. Okay, we dwell in it. And then it's okay. Are we going to cry forever? Okay, let's move. Sometimes you just have to force yourself. And it's okay to force yourself. And it's okay to not want to force yourself. It's totally okay. Whatever it is, it's totally okay. Totally fine to do whatever you need to do, but don't dwell in it too long, because you're losing yourself. in that moment. You're losing yourself in the grief. Because grief is it's a painful thing. And it's a journey to get over. And you're not really over it, the grief. I mean, it's going to be 1 year since he's gone. And a lot of the things that we used to do as family traditions, it was awkward and weird for us to do them now.
Oh, first Christmas, first everything.
His birthday, my mom's birthday, New Year's. There's things we did as a family that it was weird doing without him. That doesn't mean now he's gone, we stop. Nah, because we still have a family. It's just he's missing. And it's okay to remember him. But he's asleep right now, and it's peaceful. And there's a time that we shall see him again when Christ comes back.
On that note, there's a verse I want to share.
Yeah.
Revelation 21 verse 4, as you said. And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away.
Former things. Keyword, former things.
Yes. So I don't want to add more, but I think all we can say is thank you for sharing, and we wait and hope for the resurrection morning, for the second coming, so that we may meet our loved ones again.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
If you're coming on, we'll bring you on for something lighter next time.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you next time on another episode. God bless you. Bye.